and today in my mini world it's the ABS wheel speed sensor replacement. Now I've had an ABS light on the dashboard, either one of these two or just one on its own, and basically this is an MOT failure. It means your ABS is not working properly. Now the ABS sensor works on the wheel, so the wheel spins round and it works out if it's going at the right speed compared with the other wheels. So anyway, plug in your OBD2 reader computer. There's another video about how to do that. And I've got this error, front left wheel speed sensor. So today I'm going to be replacing the front wheel speed sensor cable. I mean, I'm hoping it is the cable. That's the normal first port of call. And just a little secret, the main dealer and any local car dealers wanted about £90 for the ABS sensor lead. I managed to get it off a well-known auction site for a fraction of that cost. So anyway, go into the boot and you will need the tamper-proof unstealable wheel nut bolt thing, because we've got to get off the front left wheel. And on that OBD2 reader computer, where it says the front left, it's always as if you're sitting in it. Right, so what you need to do is just gently loosen all four nuts while the Mini is on the ground. Then you've got a bit of resistance. Make sure the handbrake is on and it's in first gear so it can't go anywhere. Once you've actually loosened them, you then need to jack the Mini up. Now the Mini is so low, I had to roll it up just onto a small bit of wood to get it a bit higher so I could get the ramp underneath it. And then just jack the car up once the wheel's lifted clear of the ground. Right, and a safety feature here, always put blocks of wood underneath the car, because if you're working underneath the car and that jack fails, the car will fall on you and you will most likely die. So you don't want to die, so make sure you just put some blocks of wood underneath the car, just for peace of mind, because it does happen. It's very rare, but it does happen. So anyway, when you take the wheel off, I always like to mark the wheel and the hub, just so that when I put the wheel back on, it just goes in exactly the same place. Because obviously if your wheel is slightly out of balance or it's balanced with the hub, just put it on exactly where it came from, then you've got no issues with things like wheel wobble. So anyway, just lift that wheel away. Excuse me. And just place that on the ground. Right, so here's the disc. And the ABS sensor lead is this one, and that disappears up behind the wheel arch there, and it comes down here, just sits on a little clip, and that is the actual ABS sensor there. And that goes obviously down into the wheel hub. So this has probably been on there for 15 years and never been moved. So I'm just going to give it a quick squirt with WD-40 and just leave that for 10 or 15 minutes, because I think I'm going to have problems getting this out. Just going to give it a quick brush with my Mrs. toothbrush. Don't tell her. And then you're going to need an Allen key, because this is an Allen key bolt. Now make sure, it's really important this is a good fit. I mean, it's got to be absolutely stuck in there, because you do not want to thread that, because I found this really tough to get going actually. This is a few minutes later after I've given it a few bashes with a hammer and just gently wiggling it with the Allen key. So anyway, that's the, oh hello. Oh yeah, for close-up work I have to put my reading glasses on now. Epic. So anyway, this is really doesn't want to come out, so I gave it another squirt of WD-40, and I'm just getting a screwdriver just on either side. I mean, be quite gentle here. Just maneuver it about, just get it moving, because as I say, there's probably a bit of rust in there and it's stuck fast. Give it a little bit of a bash with a hammer. Again, very gently, and as you can see, it's just starting to come away. Then you can get a pair of pliers on it, just keep wiggling it, and then trying to lift it out until eventually it will actually come loose. It just slides in, it's just been in there a long time. So just keep wiggling it and eventually it will come out. And here we go, it's almost out, look. You can see how dirty it is. And you can see why the sensors fail after a while. So just keep moving it, I like to move it. I like to move it. He likes to move it. Right, eventually it's come out. Superb. And look at all the gunk on that. I mean, you could clean it all up and put it back in and try it again, but I got a brand new sensor lead for such a good price. By the time you've got it all off, let's just swap it over. So that's actually the sensor, what it's reading. So if I just jiggle the wheel about a little bit, you can see it moving. So the sensor's picking up that movement, comparing it with all the other wheels to see if you've got wheel spin or there's a problem. So as you can see, this is filthy dirty. And oh yeah, when you put that bolt back in, which holds the sensor in, make sure you just use a bit of copper grease.
Hey, careful, man. There's a beverage here, huh?
Oh, lovely cup of tea. Oh, hello. My doggie's not giving me much help here. So anyhow, this is the new lead, which I got from a well-known auction site. Brand new. So we just need to fit that in replacement of the existing one. Right, so I'm just going to match it all up, make sure it all looks the same, and it does. So the blue plug disappears off up behind the inner mud, inner wheel arch, which is just a plastic wheel arch. So what we need to do is just not remove the entire inner wheel arch. We just need to loosen as many bolts as possible, just so we can get access. These are just plastic screw nuts. So just get all of these out, and there's two metal ones. I think this is the metal one, and this is actually what they look like. So as you push them in, they expand, and then that just clips them in. Obviously these could be brittle and might break, but you can just buy some new ones. So this is all the holes here where I've removed all the bolts and the nuts, and then there's that one at the top, and also there is just one more at the front, just there. So you just need to undo that one as well. Once you've done that, you can then get enough access to be able to move that out of the way and just give you access to the ABS sensor plug. So you can see it's nice and loose and I've got access. So there's the ABS wheel sensor lead. And that's the end bit, the blue plug. Right, so we've got good access now. Now my advice is, this is just my personal opinion, I'm not a mechanic or anything. When I replace this, as you're going to see, I'm just going to replace it bit by bit. I'm not going to take the old one off completely and then put the new one on completely. I'm just going to replace it as it goes. So I'm going to do the blue bit first, then I'm going to do the middle bit, and then I'm going to do the end bit. That way there's no mistakes about where the routing is, or oh, did it go there, did it go here. Right, so let's get the new plug. It can only go in one way, but obviously make sure when you push it down it is the correct way, because you don't want to break anything. Obviously this is tricky with one hand. So it basically just pushes all the way down. It doesn't turn or twist or anything, it just basically pushes until that clip goes click. Okay, so that's the first job done. Right, now we need to follow the path of where the old one went. So basically when you unclip the old lead, put the new lead in its place and then tie that clip back up. So there's quite a few. If you follow it, it's very easy. Okay, so that's the old lead there. So just pull that out. And then once we've done that, we can put the new lead on there. It's got exactly the same fitting, so that'll just push into there. There we go. So now you can see the old one there on the right and the new one on the left. So I'm just following the path of where the old one went. This is just a lot easier because then you cannot get lost. So obviously you've got the new one on the left there and the old one on the right. So the next part to do is on this strut here. It basically just pushes in on a piece of rubber and that just holds it in place there. So let's pull the old one out and push the new one in. Make sure you do those cable ties up. Obviously mine are undone at the moment, but I did do them up, I promise. Scout's honour. So just give that a little tap with a hammer and that should just slot in. There we go. So now we're on to the final piece of the jigsaw. Not that it is a jigsaw. So this is why I did it bit by bit, because you want to make sure the routing's correct. Obviously the last bit of this cable, it came underneath those other cables. Look, underneath that, I think that's the brake pipe. So this actually was quite stiff to get in, but it did go in eventually. This is just comparing the actual sensors. That's the old one on the left, the new one on the right. So it did go in eventually, just took a bit of wiggling. So just put that bolt back in, the Allen bolt, and just make sure it's got the copper grease on the thread. So I'm just showing you the routing now. So the new cable is on. So it goes from there, through the back, underneath, round there, and into the wheel. So that's basically showing you the routing of where it's gone. I mean, it's a fairly simple job, fairly simple. So let's put the inner wheel arch back on. I've just speeded this up. Right, that's all in. All the screws and nuts are in. Right, so they're all tightened up. So let's get that wheel back on. Make sure you put copper grease on the wheel nuts, really important. This stuff is magic. Just means next time you have to take the wheel off, it just makes it a lot easier. A lot easier. This stuff is superb. Any sort of copper grease. All right, make sure the wheel is lined up, which you did earlier with the mark. You don't have to do that, it's just my personal choice. And my advice is, when you're putting the wheel nuts back in, always tighten them by hand first. Never go for one of these power guns and just ram it in, because if you cross thread it, that's a world of pain that you don't need. So always do them up with your fingers first to get them going. Same with any nuts really. And then while it's still up in the air, get them half tight, and then when it's back down on the ground, then really tighten them up, and tighten them up diagonally across. Right, so we're back in the Mini again. Now you might think, oh, I need the handheld computer reader and I've got to reset the fault codes. Well, actually, for the ABS wheel speed sensor, you don't have to reset the code. If you just go for a drive, it will automatically know that it's fixed, because the readings start coming back to the computer. So this handheld reader to reset the codes, you do not need that, which is great news. Right, just going for a drive. Woohoo! Nice one, Lurgs. Nice one. Yeah, baby. ABS sensor light is off. And thanks to my passenger for filming. And the light has gone. So we have fixed the ABS wheel speed sensor fault. Brilliant. So guys and girls, it looks like you don't have to reset the code using the computer. You just go for a drive and it automatically understands that you fixed the problem. Nice one. Time for a cup of tea. Great job. Hey guys and girls, please subscribe by pressing this button down here for more how-tos, helpful tips and life hacks. And if you'd like to select any other videos around here, that would be cool. Appreciate you visiting my channel.